real star of extras, the brilliant Stephen Merchant. How are you, Stephen? It's great. I'm very pleased and excited to have you here.
Yes, I imagine so. Yes, good.
Now, here's the thing about Stephen Merchant. I don't know if you noticed it, but he's a very tall man. When you walked out there, I was quite impressed by how tall you were. It was quite exciting.
Brilliant.
And I have a...
What an amazing observation you've made.
OK, we have a present for you as well, Stephen.
OK, great.
OK, because I know you have difficulty getting clothes. So we have something I got you from one of the specialist shops that no doubt you frequent.
Right,
and this is it's something for you to wear. And I hope you've got the right size.
Thank you very much. Did you shop for this yourself?
Of course not.
No, thank you.
But I sent someone out and I gave him specific instructions to make sure it was something that was smart and fashionable, because I'm sure you have trouble finding fashionable garments that can fit and easily. And they should...
A pair of...
Did you get close? Is that the right size? Because I wanted to make sure that they weren't snug.
Thank you.
Will you wear them first later?
I've won 3 BAFTAs, and that's what you give me.
Well, it's nice to ground
Bring me down. Yeah, thank you.
But we won't go into finding clothes. Here's what I want to ask you. I'm very excited about the Extras Christmas special. I've been looking forward to it very much.
You make a brief appearance, of course, yourself.
A very brief appearance. An O2 brief appearance.
So frustrating as well, because I don't know if you remember, but for a small while, Jonathan had an absurdly comical little beard.
No. It was
not the beginning of the series.
It was quite a dashing
No,
beard.
it wasn't. It made you look like D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, would you like to see the beard back?
Well, we'd like to see the beard back as well, because... We're all set to have you on the show, you know, as Jonathan Ross, and we get this call in just before we're about to have you. Don't be alarmed, guys. He's got a tiny, stupid little beard.
No.
And you said to us you'd keep it at least until Christmas, so it wouldn't look look weird on the show. Where is it?
I kept it for a few weeks. But then we had to take it off.
Because it looked absurd.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I thought it looked quite dashing. I wanted to look quite masculine for once in my life.
But it's not going to work. It made you look like Willy Wonka or something.
How come Beaker from the Muppets is giving me advice about how to look? How's this worked out in this way? Eh? There you go. How come you're telling me what looks silly? I think Biggins just sat on Dickinson.
Sorry, do you mean... what? You've lost me. I'm just still quite offended by being compared to a Muppet. It's supposed to be Christmas.
Like that hasn't happened to you before?
Well, only by you and your comedy cohort, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, well...
People don't shout it in the street. I'm not walking by.
Well,
hey, Fraggle!
Fraggle's another good one, yes.
Thanks.
What do they shout when they see you in the street? Do they shout anything? Do you get much recognition yet? Because it's fairly recent that you have become a bigger part of the work that you do with Vicky.
Sometimes people do... being tall is somehow more interesting to people than being on the telly. Yeah. So I've had...
really?
Ever since I was young, people have shouted stuff, and I think there's a thing with being tall that people don't see it as... they see it as an achievement. Like, you know, you've accomplished something because you've got tall.
Yeah.
And well done to you. And so you wouldn't... If you saw a very tiny person, you wouldn't go, hey, titch. You know, you probably would, but the average nice person
I
wouldn't.
shout, hey, titch, but if they had a hunchback or something, I would touch it for luck.
Right. But you wouldn't...
That's a good thing.
No, everyone knows you should
like
always touch a hunchback for luck.
Yeah, because otherwise... And you miss one. It's not like they're buses. There's not another one coming.
You don't see many hunchbacks now.
Sometimes you only see one every couple of days.
Frustratingly, it's been stamped out as
I like best is to actually rub it with my whole arm.
Yeah.
You see, because I was told a genie might come out.
Sure. They appreciate it. They really do. But yeah, if you see a little hunchback fella, you generally would say, you know, can I rub you for luck? But you wouldn't insult him or...
I wouldn't insult him.
Right. Whereas, and if you saw a very fat person, again, someone maybe cruel would, but generally people are very polite. But with tallness, is that a word? With height, with great height...
comes great responsibility.
Comes great responsibility. And people sort of somehow assume that you're very proud of it, so they'll drive by in vans. Hey, Lanky! I mean, just like slowing down to shout it, and people making comments, oh, you're so tall, oh my God, you're so freakishly talking, you know, and it's sort of, I mean, and I don't know what to say. I've got no, you're right, I'm tall. And
you can't deny it.
There's nothing I can say, and we did it in the office, that the same, it's always the same stuff. What's the weather like up there? And did your parents put you in a grow bag as a kid? No.
So they can...
So
we can actually though cross it off the list. They didn't
put me in a grow bag.
Okay,
they didn't put me in a rack to stretch me.
Has anyone ever said that yet?
Yeah, of course.
Why would they say that?
They always say, do you play basketball? again, which...
That's my next question. Do you play basketball? Because I would have thought with a God-given talent like height, you should maybe parlay that into sport.
Again, you know, you'll have men in pub toilets saying, do you play basketball? And I always think that unless you're, you know, a scout from the Harlem Globetrotters,
you've got no
there's
business
nowhere to
asking
go with this conversation.
Because if you say yes, what would they say?
Well, again, I'm just a bloke on a piss. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's not a reference to your dribbling then that they say the basketball lad is. I apologise for the quality of that last pun. Extras Christmas special. I'm looking forward to it. I've been sent a copy and I haven't watched it. I'm saving it for near Christmas. Well, I didn't want to watch it in advance because my wife really wanted to watch it with me, and I thought if I watch it like for the purpose of the show, I spoil that as a thing we enjoy together. Because the Office Christmas special I thought was just about one of the best specials I've ever seen on TV. It was just such a marvellous end to the series, and it must have been a tough thing to finish off, I would have thought. Or did you have that in mind when you were heading towards it? Did you know where you were going to go with those storylines?
We always wanted it to be a sort of romantic conclusion, I think, and maybe quite a sort of hopeful conclusion. I think people tended to accuse us of being very cynical and sort of dark and gloomy and mean-spirited, and I think actually we're quite sentimental, the two of us, and so that was sort of what we tried to put in.
So do we have a similar ending, without giving too much away, in the Extras Christmas special? Is it a similar kind of thing? Because I've heard tell by some people that it's a bit more downbeat and it's a bit more dramatic.
No, I wouldn't say it's not. I mean, it's 80 minutes, so it's kind of like a little mini movie.
It's like a film. Is
it's
that
like
what you're edging
towards? We were aiming for it to be like a film, and I think if you've not seen the series before, or even if you're not a fan, I think, you know, this is kind of, it's self-contained, you can sort of watch it. And you know how, like, at Christmas there's a certain sentiment in the air, and I think that's why films like, you know, A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life, they sort of tap into that spirit. And I mean, not to compare us to Dickens, you know, you'll be the judge, but I think there's a sort of, we're trying to get into that kind of Christmas sentiment.
And you play, of course, we should say in Extras, you play Darren, who is Andy, who played by Ricky, his agent.
Yes.
Not a particularly accomplished agent, really, not a particularly good agent, really.
No.
Okay, we're going to have a little clip. This is from the Extras Christmas special. When's it on?
It's on the day after Boxing Day.
The day after Boxing Day.
They've given us the prime slot there. That's the real killer slot.
So it's a kind of post-Christmas special, really.
It's when you're sick of Christmas, then you really want to sit down and watch a Christmas show.
Okay, this is it. It's on the 27th of December. Here's a taster.